Space Wolves are coming, and they are going to be freaking sick. If you're anything like me, you're looking forward to this army, and there has been a ton revealed. So if you guys are interested in seeing what's coming up to Space Wolves, what I did is I went through all the articles Games Workshop has released, and some of them are really convoluted. Like the one today, there's a lot of information in there, but you're not really going to get it just from scanning the article. There's things need to be organized. So I took all the information we have from Space Wolves as of right now, and I've organized it for you. So you will see everything that we know. In the article released today specifically, they released the army rule, a detachment rule, 6 character rules, 8 strats, 2 enhancements. But since it was so cluttered, like I said, I decided to organize it all for you. I'm probably going to be playing some Space Wolves when they come out. Not only because they have the sickest models that GW has released to date, but they've got some pretty darn cool rules behind it. So buckle up. Here is everything we know about Space Wolves as to right now. First detachment rule that they gave us specifically today, the detachment was the Saga of the Beastslayer. So the base effect of this is units that are targeting enemy characters, monsters, or vehicles get lethal hits. Pretty dang solid. When you complete a saga, and they kind of wait to explain that, that completing sagas would require certain things, and in this particular saga, with the way you complete it is you have to destroy more than half of the enemy character, monster, or vehicle units. All units get lethal hits against all targets for the rest of the game. So you can unlock full lethal hits, which is very dang strong. Super, super strong. So that is the first detachment rule. Now, we also previously had another detachment rule that has been fleshed out for us, which is much less, in my opinion, interesting, but I'll go ahead and show you what it was. Previous one that they had announced was this one, which was the Heroes All, or Saga of the Bold. And what the detachment rule does for you is it says, each time an Adeptus Astartes unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight, apply one of the following when resolving those attacks. If your saga is completed, you get to reroll 1 hit, wound, or damage roll. And if you haven't done this saga, then you get to do that, but only for Space Wolf character units. Now, this, in my opinion, is just a bad rule. It's literally just like a worst version of the Iron Storm rule, right? So it's just not good, and it really doesn't skew the math very good. Like, you get to reroll 1 hit, wound, or damage roll on units where you might be taking like 20 models. If it was 1 hit, wound, and damage roll, then this could be amazing, but it's not. So I don't necessarily see huge value in this detachment rule, but that doesn't mean the enhancements and the strats won't be freaking amazing. Furthermore, the way that you unlock the saga for everything, and not just character units, you have to complete 3 boasts. And they have 4 potential boasts, and these are just like things. A boast is just a submission that you have to complete. You got to complete 3 of these 4. So one is you hide as a trophy. Your hide as a trophy. That unit destroys your Oath of Moment target. So you select a Space Wolves character unit, and if they destroy your Oath of Moment target, you have now officially completed this boast. So that would be one of the 3 that you were required. Another one would be Slay Them All. Your Space Wolf character unit destroys your Oath of Moment target, and that's the second Oath of Moment target destroyed by that unit. This one's probably going to be pretty darn hard to achieve. Then you've got Overrun Their Positions, which is at the end of either player's turn. That unit is wholly within your opponent's deployment zone. This, honestly, probably not that hard to complete. You can always just do a cheap character unit anywhere, or you can use Logan Grimnor's ability to Deep Strike Terminators turn 1 to accomplish this. So pretty easy to complete this, even though it sounds hard. And then you've got Hold the Line. From the second battle round onwards, at the end of your command phase, that unit is within range of an objective marker you control that is not within your deployment zone. You just got to hold your natural expansion, super easy to complete. So basically, 3 of those is pretty easy to complete. One can be, maybe counterplayed because your opponent can kind of block your deep strikes a little bit, even if you do have a turn 1 deep strike. And then Slay Them All is going to be very hard to accomplish. But if you accomplish those, then you get the great benefit of every unit in your army gets to reroll 1 hit, wound, or damage roll, which is very underwhelming. Then the enhancement they showed off for this was the Shald, which was Adeptus Astartes model only. Each time a Space Wolves character unit from your army achieves a boast, if the bear is on the battlefield, gain 1 CP. This sounds pretty dang good. I wonder if there's some way that it will avoid restrictions on gaining CP. That would make it actually very good. Otherwise, it's just meh. Okay. So anyway, let's get into some of the character rules that have been revealed, because these are really cool. The first character we're going to talk about is the Wolf Guard Battle Leader. He will grant his unit sustained hits 1. Super strong, very reasonably good buff. He will also allow rerolls of hit rolls of 1 when targeting enemy units within 6 inches. This is also a very solid rule. if this guy could go with Blade Guard, that'd be really awesome. We do know that he can definitely go with the Headhunters, which we'll talk about a little bit in the future, which can make Headhunters very, very spicy. The article they dropped today specifically mentioned bringing him with Headhunters in the Saga of the Beast Slayer detachment, because that will give them sustained hits and lethal hits on that unit. And now they get to reroll hit rolls of 1. Obviously, you can Oath of Moment for full hit rolls. So that makes them a very, very, very hard hitting unit. So this is a very interesting character. We know they can attach to Headhunters. We don't really know what else they can attach to. I assume they would probably be able to lead Blade Guard Vets, but maybe not. I don't know. Space Wolves can be a little bit weird about things like that. Then we've got Ragnar Blackmane. His ability is going to be the War Howl, which enables his unit to charge in a turn in which they advanced. Advance and charge is always super powerful. Ragnar, if history serves as any indication, he's going to be a bit of a beat stick on his own, and he's also going to give advance and charge to a unit. Very strong. He also specifically gives reroll wound rolls for Bloodclaw units when they're in melee. Now, it's kind of weird because of the way that they've revealed it. It's not, we haven't gotten like a data sheet. This might only apply to Bloodclaws, or it could be that he gives reroll wound rolls to the units. We don't really know, but either way, he's going to be a big buff unit for your army. So Ragnar is going to be really darn cool. Next character rules. We've got the Wolf Priest, which has been revealed, and the Wolf Priest seems pretty freaking awesome. This dude has Healing Bombs, which is his ability, which he just returns a destroyed model to your unit in your command phase. Regenerating models, always a good plan, but he's also a chaplain at the same time, so he's going to be granting +1 to wound rolls in melee. So he's like a chaplain and an apothecary combined. Depending on his points, he might just be a complete freaking legend. So Wolf Priest seems super, super good right off the rip. Then you got Bjorn the Fell-Handed. Yes, Bjorn has returned. He didn't go anywhere. He has the Ancient Tactician ability, and this is going to grant an additional command point in your command phase if he is on the battlefield. I should note that it does seem that he's lost his Vect Aura, but that Vect Aura has been transferred to Logan Grimnir, so it's not gone, it's just he's lost his Vect Aura. So that is what his ability is. I don't know if he might have damage anymore. This is just all the information we have at this point, but he is going to be generating CP for you, which is pretty dang cool. Njal the Stormcaller has also been revealed, and when this model is a leading unit, ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit have the Assault ability, and whenever you roll in advance, you just auto advance 6 inches with him. So he makes the unit much faster, and he gives them assault on their guns. So I think the preview, they said that he really leads Grey Hunters well, because he's in power armor, not Terminator armor. So he's going to be able to lead your lighter heavy troops or whatever. So that's kind of cool. So all these guys actually have really good uses. So far, the Wolf Priest is looking like gangbusters good, and then Ragnar and the Wolfguard Battle Leader look freaking awesome. Now, the other characters that they've revealed for us is going to be Logan Grimnir and Arjak Rockfist. And before everyone hops on me here, Murderfang has been revealed. Murderfang does exist. I know he did lose his Unlimited Fights ability, which is, pour one out for your homies. Super sad. But he does exist. And we have Logan Grimnar with Guile of the Wolf. His ability is now going to increase the cost of enemy stratagems when used within a 12-inch aura of him. Very, very strong. He also has another ability, which I don't know why I didn't write it here, but I didn't. Anyway, his other ability is going to allow one unit to arrive from strategic reserves, counting as if they were one battle round earlier. So you can get, turn 1 deep strikes from your freaking, Terminators and stuff. This is sounding like a very, very strong character, which is going to have a lot of really cool things. He no longer has the big ow, which will allow the entire army to reroll charges and hit rolls in a turn, which was super, super strong and super cool. Now he's just super, super strong and super cool in a very different way. So Logan Grimnir, and he got a dope model. And then we got Arjak Rockfist. Now, with the Faux Hammer, his weapon is going to have anti-vehicle 3-up and precision, which is pretty dang cool. And his unit will also get fights on deaths on a 4-up. And you're probably going to be able to lead a unit of Terminators with him and Logan Grimnir. I don't know if that's confirmed, but it looks like that's going to be the case. And they just gave his melee profile here. So 5 attacks, hits on 2, strength 8, AP2, damage 3. Flat damage 3 is always super sick. And it's got that anti-monster vehicle 3-up and precision, like it says. He also has another ability, which says, each time this model makes a melee attack that targets a character unit, you get to reroll the hit roll and reroll the wound roll. So he is very effective into characters specifically. All right, now let's talk about some of these stratagems that have been revealed. So, Unbridled Ferocity. And I don't really know what detachments these stratagems are. It was very uncluttered, but these are stratagems we know that the Space Wolves have. Unbridled Ferocity for 1 CP will grant +1 to wound rolls in the fight phase. I believe this was specifically for Saga of the Beast Slayer, but I can't promise that. Then you've got, which is +1 CP for +1 to wound. That's great. Coordinated Strike. This will allow a unit near the battlefield edge to return to strategic reserves and then come back onto the battlefield. Go back into reserves, super solid ability, which is useful basically in any detachment in the game. Then we've got Impetuosity, and the way they describe the stratagem is it enables earlier engagement for units like Wolfen or Bloodclaws, which makes opponents think twice about shooting them. This sounds like a Blood Surge to me. They didn't really tell us exactly what the stratagem is, but that's what they said. That sounds like it's a 1 CP for a Blood Surge on either Wolfen or Bloodclaws, which is great. Then you've got Thunderous Pursuit. This will grant a reactionary move when a nearby enemy unit tries to move out of charge range. So does that mean that this is a reactive to a reactive move? I don't really know, so I'm not entirely sure what this is, but there's going to be some form of reactive move in this stratagem. So basically, Space Wolves are going to have a lot of mobility stratagems. Some of the other stratagems that they announced today. Inspiring Presence for 1 CP. Character unit gains lethal hits. 1 CP for lethal hits. Great. Super strong. Super nice. Heroic Resolve for a 2 CP stratagem. You get to select a character. Now, it said a character. I don't know if it's referencing character or character unit. If you're looking at what we have typically seen for other detachments and armies in the game, it's likely going to be character unit. Hopefully it's not character, because that would be a much weaker form of this. But subtract 1 from damage of enemy shooting attacks. So it will only apply in the shooting phase, not in the fight phase, but it will be -1 damage, which is always very solid. Then you've got a 2 CP stratagem called the Countercharge, which will allow a character to charge a nearby enemy unit at the end of their own charge phase. Now, we have seen other stratagems like this, and typically there is going to be a 6-inch restriction on it. I don't know if there is a 6-inch restriction here. I also don't know if it's just the character model or if it's character unit, because they didn't really specify, but there you have it. The Alpha Strike stratagem, which will allow a character to charge after advancing. Once again, does this apply to character units or just characters? We don't actually know at this point. Then some of the enhancements that have been revealed. We've got the Helm of the Beastslayer, which will reduce the armor penetration characteristic of attacks by 1 when big units attack your unit. And in the context of what the article is saying for this, that basically lets me know that monsters and vehicles, if they're attacking you, you get AOC against it from this enhancement specifically, which could be very strong. Then you've got the Braggart's Steel, which will grant additional strength and damage to the model, but it has to be earned by completing a boast. So I think you start off with additional strength, and once you complete one of your boasts, which whatever the boasts are for the detachment that you're in, then you're going to also get a damage boost, which is also a very interesting thing. Then we've got just a little bit of unit stuff to clear up. We know that Terminators have the ability Rugged Resilience, which is -1 to be wounded if your strength is higher, if the attacking unit's strength is higher than your toughness. This is a very good rule on Terminators, and it actually is probably going to lead to Space Wolf Terminators being some of the best Terminators in the game. I personally think that right now, your Blightlord Terminators are probably one of the better Terminators in the game. You've got your Thousand Suns Terminators, who are just flat -1 to be wounded, which makes them a very good Terminator unit. But as far as like Loyalist Terminators are concerned, they all kind of suck. But this would make them actually quite useful in Space Wolves specifically, especially when you consider that Logan Grimnir could just be like, boom, you get to Deep Strike turn 1. It could make them very fascinating. So I think that's super cool. Not to mention the new Space Wolf Terminators are freaking sick. Like, look at those things. Monsters. So badass. Then we got Bloodclaws. We do know that Bloodclaws can be taken in units of 20, because the article was really funny. It was talking about how if you can get those Bloodclaws to have all lethal hits, you can get like 80 attacks out of a Bloodclaw squad with just lethal hits, and that can just really blend things, especially if they're being led by Ragnar, who also can give them reroll wound rolls, or a Wolf Priest, which can give them +1 to wound. So there's just lots of ways that you can run Bloodclaws, which is really cool. Head Takers specifically, we know that they will gain precision and devastating wounds against a target of their choice at the start of the game. And the article specifies that they will be able to reselect units after they have achieved the goal of killing the first unit, which is pretty dang cool. Just a couple other things that I'm just remembering now, and I probably should have typed down, but whatever. The wolf friends will separate at the beginning of the game. So if you're taking wolf friends, I don't know what they're calling them. They're calling it Fenrisian wolves or whatever, but whatever they're called in the new codex. They are taking along with the head takers, but they operate separately. Operate separately. And then Wolfen and Wolfen Dreads / Dreads will have an OC of 0. But if they're within range of a character, they get +1 OC. I'll just write it like this. Within range of a character, they get +1 OC. So that's pretty much all the information we have for Space Wolves at this moment. Personally, I'm actually pretty excited. I don't see anything here that is making them sound OP. It actually sounds like one of the detachments they have revealed is just straight up way worse than what they currently have in the index. That doesn't mean that what we're not getting is not going to be good. The models are absolutely insane, and it looks like they're going to get some pretty cool, interesting options in the gameplay, and I, for one, am actually quite excited for it. So stick around because I might be transferring into a space furry. I'm never going to use that terminology again. I feel embarrassed by myself that I even said it, but space wolves sound cool, so there it is. Guys, if you like this content, let me know. I organize all this stuff for you just to make it more easier to digest, because remember, the goal of this channel is to make sure that you guys have all the information you need to become the best possible Warhammer players that you can be. So with that, I'm going to take off. Have a great day. Crump on. Bye-bye.